cool. Okay, let it work itself. You can see bubbles coming out. Like that. Okay, let it go empty. This will be another video today we're doing on this Nissan Sentra. This is a 2008. It has the 2.0 or I think it's 2.0, 2.5. It should be the same on any of these Sentras, this body style. What we're going to do today is replace the radiator fluid, the coolant. The car is not hot to the touch. The way you can test, I don't recommend doing this, but you can take the cap off like that and no coolant comes out. Like this, obviously, that means it's not hot, okay? We also just relieve the pressure on the system, okay? I'm gonna leave the cap on so crap doesn't fall in here, okay? But I got it up in the air. I'm gonna throw some jack stands under it, but I've got it on a jack. Where I went to jack the car up. Right there, that is like the transmission subframe mount. You can go to the subframe itself. I'm gonna put jack stands under it, but I got a bucket under it. According to the online thing, this holds like 1.5 gallons of coolant. Obviously, you're not gonna get it all out unless you let it drain and drain and drain and drain and drain and drain and drain. There's gonna be some in the block, some in the heater core, etc., etc. So I'm gonna use a 5-gallon bucket. You can use a drain pan, get a 7-quart drain pan, because that's like almost 2 gallons. But if you're like me and got long arms, the drain is right here. Else you get under the car. So what I'm gonna do is just take it loose. You can see it's already coming out. Real easy. Boom. And of course, I didn't have the bucket back far enough. Okay, let that drain for a sec. Okay. Let that drain. Take the cap off. Okay. Also took the cap off the reservoir. What I'll do here in a minute is I will take this loose right here, slide my bucket over, take this loose, put it down in the bucket. That way it drains all this too. I'm going to put this right here beside the radiator cap, okay? Let that drain for a minute. Okay, what I'm going to use to replace this with, that looks like it just has green universal coolant in it. What I have is I have that 1 jug of Peak Asian Vehicles Blue, and then if it needs a little bit more, I've got a jug of Super Tech. I'm going to fill the radiator, fill the coolant reservoir. This just got spark plugs too, and I'm going to do the air filter too and drain the coolant. And then we're going to put a jug of motor treatment, like Super Tech motor treatment. It's basically their version of like gum out, but so I'll let that drain for a minute. What I'll normally do too to help chase all that out is I'll take a gallon of water, or like half a gallon of water in it, and it'll flush it all out. And then once I get done with that, I'll put the drain back in it, drain plug, and I'll take this loose right here. Like I said, just go straight, basically straight over there with it, and then let all that drain out. Fill that up. What I do is I fill this up to the minimum line, let it run, get hot, and then you top this off. This is just a jug full of water. There's no coolant in this, okay? Pour this in there until it starts coming out clear. It's down to just a dribble, like just a drip. So I'm going to put the drain plug back in it, okay? And then I'm going to take this loose, slide my bucket over. If this is on jack stands, I wouldn't have to do this. I cheated, I didn't put it on jack stands. And then what I'm going to do, got my pliers, take this like this, work it back, and then just take this loose, take it out of there. And when I say out of there, I mean out of this thing. well, it's gonna come. And just let that go straight into the bucket, like that. Let that drain for a minute, and it will drain your coolant reservoir. And what I'm gonna do, just let that drain. And then that will empty that. And then we'll go from there. I'm gonna get a couple funnels. I'll put this back, pull my bucket out, spray off my jack, and we'll start filling this bad boy up. The old coolant out, I suggest you call somewhere like Walmart or like any place that does like radiator exchanges like Valvoline or Meineke or whatever you got near you. Ask them, hey, do you all take used coolant? A lot of them will. I know when I was a manager at the one at Walmart, the dude that came and got our used oil told me, and like the guys in the shop, he's like, if you ever got any used antifreeze, just dump it in with the oil. Our machine separates it out. And like if you put a gallon in versus a 500-gallon tank, it's not gonna hurt anything. So just call and ask. Don't just dump this out. It's poisonous to squirrels and cats and dogs and kids. Kids shouldn't be in my yard. Keep your kids off my yard. But anyways, I'm gonna fill this up to the minimum line. I've got my special funnel here. You don't have to have a special funnel, it just helps. And we'll go from there. Like I said, I got a gallon of that, and we'll just start filling this up back on the ground. And you just start putting coolant in it like this. Grab your coolant, okay, very slowly start adding coolant. Okay, let it go down. Okay, and it will burp, like bubbles will come up and pop, so try not to get your face in front of it. Okay, let it drain. What I do is I fill it up to like right here. I pretend this is a line. It's also a good time to check for leaks. Make sure you put the radiator drain plug in, okay? What I do is I fill it up to right about here, where it goes from the flat part back to the triangle part, the bevel. Use that as a line. Fill it up to there, let it drain in the radiator. Okay. Let it drain. And you can see there's air coming out. Okay. Don't do this with the engine running. Wait till we get to the next step to start the car. Cool. Okay. Let it work itself. You can see bubbles coming out. Like that. Okay. Let it go empty. Okay. You can also give it a little help. Squeeze your radiator hoses, which works the air out. Like you can see, I'm squeezing the hose. Squeeze the lower hose. Don't get your head over it. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, fill it back up again. Okay, let it work a little. Let it do its magic. Oop, we're getting bubbles still. Okay, let it run. Cool. I'm gonna let that sit for a minute. While it's sitting, I'm gonna grab a different funnel and fill up my overflow too. When you're draining radiator, always remember to drain your overflow too, because you don't want to put that much dirty coolant back in the system. Okay, still working. Okay. Still getting air out of it. Good. Pressure. So everything's good. I went ahead and got a funnel, filled it up a little bit more than I wanted to. Take this back out, put the cap back on. So now that it's started, what I'm going to do is start the car. And then when you start the car, put your defrost on high, full heat. That way it circulates everything. We just wait. Keep an eye on this, make sure it doesn't go empty, make sure obviously you're not leaking. Okay? You'll see some bubbles as like the thermostat opens when it moves. Okay? Keep an eye on this, make sure it doesn't overflow or go empty. I'm out of coolant, so I'm gonna go grab a little bit more. big bubbles moving in there. We'll open up another gallon of coolant. Okay, we'll put a little bit more in there. Oh, we just went dry. So if you see it making a lot of movement, or if it starts bubbling up really bad, that will mean the thermostat's open. What else you can do is fill your hoses, see if they're getting warm. Give them a little squeeze too, move some air. And then also, literally come in here, when you start getting heat, what I do, roll the window down, that way you can leave the door closed, then just go and stick your arm in it. Okay, just keep an eye on this. So, I got most of the air out with that. Got my cap back on, got this on. Make sure you keep an eye on this. It doesn't go crazy full or go empty. If it goes empty, you need to add more, because that means there was coolant that needed to go in here. There was air. If it gets super high, that means you probably got an air pocket. Okay, there's also no leaks. Keep an eye on, while you're letting it run, keep an eye on your temperature gauge right here. Do not let it get hot. If it does, shut it off. Right there, you can squeeze your lines, whatever, Also, like I said, defrost, full hot, full open. Just let it run till you get heat. When you feel heat up here, that means all the air and everything is out of the system. The coolant's working, thermostat's working, everything, okay? Just keep an eye on that and peek out there. So, the secondary fan just kicked on, which means that this hose right here is also getting hot. This hose is getting hot. And if you look right here, I don't know if you can see that or not, but the coolant in there is moving. Which means either A, thermostat's opened and it's either going to suck some coolant out of there, or it's pushing excess coolant back out, or there's air in there. Something's going on in here, it's moving, okay? Hoses are getting hot to the touch, which means we should start getting, okay, temperature gauge has not moved. Still no heat, but something's happening. Okay, the fan's kicked on. So, we're gonna keep an eye on this. Keep filling our hoses. Oh, that one's getting real hot. Oh yeah, that one's getting warm too. Yeah, this one's real hot. Okay, I think I'm gonna have to add coolant. Or should pull it out of here, and then I'll just fill this back up, and we should start getting heat. Temperature gauge went up just a little bit, so I'll keep an eye on that. Hopefully it's just working air out. Here's a little bit of advice what I did. It just didn't seem like it was getting hot. I wasn't getting any heat. So what I did, these still weren't getting hot. Filled this all the way up to max. As you can see, it's gone down. I got in the car and held it at about 4 grand RPM. You can do this or you can drive it. It's up to you. I just sat in the driveway with a neutral, held it at about 4 grand. I got heat. All of a sudden, I just got heat just like wide open. Came out here and it had sucked this almost dry. So I'm gonna put more coolant in it. What that means is there's probably an air bubble or the thermostat hadn't opened yet. So we'll put some more coolant in it. Do it again. Just keep doing that. Top the coolant reservoir back off. Okay, let the car run about 15 minutes. Nothing happened, it didn't blow up, didn't get hot, got heat. I'm gonna let it cool off. I'm gonna see if that goes up and down any. I'm gonna check, make sure it's full in here. Both hoses are hot to the touch. That one's not as hot as I'd like it to be, but I think everything's okay. It just needs to like work its way out. My suggestion to you, once you get this done, is take the car out once you know it's not gonna overheat and drive it. And I don't mean like around the block. Once I do something like this, I take it down the highway, because what you want to do is you want to get up to speed, get the RPMs up and get it consistent, because like stop and go is a little bit RPM, no RPM, a little bit RPM, no RPM. So if you run it like 3 or 4 exits down the highway, like 10, 15 miles, get off the highway and come back, you've got it way up in the RPM range, you've got it moving, you've got everything percolating, and it should chase out any air. If it's going to use any coolant to fill the radiator, it'll pull it out of there. Everything should be good. And like I said, put your heat on, roll your windows down. I know it's going to get hot, but that's what I always do. This was very easy. This was simple, and you can actually do this without jacking the car up. I just did it so I could get a bigger drain pan under the bucket. But there's actually some movement still going on in there, so it's probably taking some coolant out. That's all there is. This is easy. Make sure you also use the right coolant. So, thanks.